So good evening, everyone. Welcome for coming along, and thanks for your time. My name's Craig Burns, and I'm the host of tonight's webinar, Why Should I Start a doTERRA Business? By way of an introduction, I work full-time. I have a busy job. I have a wife and three young kids, so most of my spare time is spent in the family, and I wouldn't say I have excess amounts of spare time. 4 months ago, I knew absolutely nothing about essential oils. And if you asked me to invite my friends and family around to my house and sell them anything, let alone a little magic in a glass bottle, I would have run to the hills. And I especially wouldn't have mentioned anything about it being a multi-level marketing scheme. So personally, I would say that I don't feel confident in myself as a salesperson. In my career, I've not touched on anything that relates to marketing. And embarrassingly, I barely know how to use social media. So that's me. But I've also just received my first substantial payment from doTERRA for the month of July with a payment of $2,000. So tonight I'd like to share with you how I've done that, what sort of money you can make with doTERRA, the investment of time that's required, and how it all works. What I thought I'd do is cover off the basics in a bit of a slide presentation that will last for maybe 20 minutes, and then open it up at the end for any questions that you have. So at this point, I was also going to welcome my doTERRA leader, Rebecca Jackson. Rebecca's had a slightly different journey and path to mine, but I'd like to welcome you, Rebecca, to jump on at question time and add your insights and experience.
Thank
that would
you.
be greatly appreciated. And if you stay to the end, there's a very generous offer to get you started in your own doTERRA business. So I'm going to go for good old PowerPoint, the trusty, tried and true PowerPoint. That's me. And so I'm just going to share the screen with you all now. Cross your fingers. Okay, so I called it doTERRA Stripped Back, which for me is just sharing my personal journey and as honestly as I possibly can to you, so you understand what I've done and how that might relate to what your some of the thoughts you may have around doTERRA and some of the questions you may have, and I'll look to answer those along the way. I thought initially I'd kick off with the elephants in the room, the things that you may have heard about doTERRA, but thought you might save until you understand a bit more about it, but really are the barriers that you might need to overcome right up front to understand whether you are interested in the doTERRA business. So I'm just going to jump straight into it. Multi-level marketing. So multi-level marketing or network marketing, sometimes called a pyramid scheme, for me, that came with a huge stigma. And in my mind, everyone's been touched or has a story about Amway or Avon or Tupperware or USANA. And mostly the stories are about how the person who got in early or at the top of the pyramid made all the money, but no one else did. So what I'd like you to consider, because doTERRA is a multi-level marketing business, is that as a business model, it's a great way to reach customers. It's a great way to leverage off the strength of existing relationships. And what I've learned is psychologically, we're most likely to buy from a referral from a person that we trust. So that makes sense. But as a business model, it also enables exponential growth. So not only are you trying to grow your team or your business, but you have people in your team who are also trying to grow it. So everyone is contributing to that network. Next is sales, volume, and targets. Is there pressure to reach a certain volume? Am I locked in? Do I have to make a commitment? These are some of the things that I hear quite a bit. So the earning potential or commissions in doTERRA come from the volume of product purchased by the people that you have introduced or enrolled, or the people that you have enrolled. So to make this all viable, you need a mechanism to share the doTERRA products with your existing network, or if you haven't got a network like me, you need to create one. This is, I guess, one of the fundamentals of the business. You need to bring people in. Ask any retailer, are sales important? Is volume of sales important? Do you have targets? Clearly the answer is going to be yes. This business is no different. In the business, these 3 points, sales, volume, and targets, don't matter if you don't want to get paid. So if you do, there are clear volume targets that you and your team need to meet to qualify. So just by way of explanation, a bottle of oil has both a price and a points value. So it might cost $30, for example, and it might have a point value of 25. Usually the points are a little bit less than the Australian dollar value. There are also ranks that in the business that reflect sales volume and earning capacity. So it starts at elite, where you might earn $300 a month. When your team brings in 3,000 points of volume, right up to presidential diamond, where you can earn over $100,000 a month. And the volume you need to bring in there is obviously huge. I'm going to talk about 3 specific ranks, those of silver, gold, and platinum, which are kind of mid-range ranks and ones that we'd like to be shooting towards as a business builder. So in the ranks of silver, gold, and platinum, you require a volume of 9,000, 15,000, or 27,000 points as a monthly spend. That sounds like a lot, but remember, it's not just you trying to fill that volume with enrollments or sales, but people in your team are also trying to do that. The rewards are approximately $2,000, $5,000, or $9,000 a month for each of those ranks, which is just less than about 1/3 of the sales volume. So you're not doing it on your own. But is there a commitment? Yeah, the only commitment for you to reach those potential earnings is a monthly personal commitment of 100 points in product, which equates to probably $120 to $140. The wellness industry. I'm not an expert on it yet. I never will be, but you don't need to be one to know that there's an increasing market focusing on health and well-being and a worldwide shift towards more natural healing and alternative therapies. The essential oils global market was valued at $7.5 billion in 2015 and predicted to reach almost $12 billion by 2022. So it's driven by this trend towards natural remedies. It's a happening thing. Let's get on board. In regards to customer retention, the multi-level marketing industry average has a retention rate of about 10%. So 1 in 10 people who buy a product from a multi-level marketing company stay and purchase more product. That's not very high. With doTERRA, that number is 68%. So 7 times greater than the industry average, or almost 2/3 of, or over 2/3 of people who use the products continue to do so. That's really important. What I want you to think of is repeat business. And that's not you having to sell to them again. That's them coming back, purchasing online without you necessarily even having to talk to them again, necessarily, but you may. The product quality. You'll see a lot of conjecture, a lot of stuff online about all the different producers of essential oils, about the quality, about the cost of those. And if you do any research, you'll struggle to reach a point of any determination. So what I think you need to know is doTERRA partners with Indigenous farmers of their source plants around the world, which means they're grown in the optimal and natural settings to ensure the product is the highest quality. There are no fillers in the oils, and they're 100% certified pure therapeutic grade. Do your own research. These oils are of the highest quality, and I challenge you to find anyone who doesn't rank doTERRA right up near the top in regards quality. In respect to value, I always think that's a relative term. Structure and commissions. So doTERRA has 5 ways in which you're paid. You get money immediately to assist with cash flow, and then in increasing ways as you advance through the ranks. Some ways you're paid, sometimes you're paid weekly. One of the payment methods occurs weekly and others occur monthly, and I'll speak more specifically about that now. So how, when, and what are you paid? One of the 5 ways, retail sales. So anyone who pays the recommended retail price for the oil that you've referred, you get a 25% commission on all sales. For wellness advocates or wholesale customers or consultants that you've enrolled, you get paid 20% of their spend for anything they purchase within the first 60 days. Not only do you receive 20%, but the person who enrolled you receives 10%, and the person who enrolled them receives 5%, as per the middle diagram. So that rewards everyone in that immediate hierarchy for 60 days when someone starts. This is great because the minute you start sharing oils and people start buying, there's a little incentive for you, a little cash incentive back, and that can go towards paying for your own oils.
So can I interject there? Just because I think this is important, and this was a really big aha moment for me, because you get 20% on the first 60 days for that first person you enroll, but you get 10% and 5% forever. And that was massive when I learned that, because I thought it was just on the first 60, but that's just on the top level. So for example, I enrolled Craig. So for every person that Craig enrolls in his team, for the rest of the time that he's in doTERRA, as his enroller, I actually make 10%. So that's a massive income, ongoing income for me. And that is, I think, a really beautiful part of this business, because I'm therefore incentivized to support my team, just like you're incentivized to support your team. And that's what I personally love about this business, is that the more you do to help each other, the more successful you're going to be, and you can be hugely successful. So I'm now personally at the point where Fast Start, I mean, that's the one that's paid every week. That is my biggest bonus that comes in every week now, and that is sustaining me. That is, you know, that's awesome for my family, having Fast Start.
Thank you very much, Rebecca, for that.
That's all right.
The power of 3 is the right-hand diagram, and what that does is it rewards you for building teams of 3, which are the easiest way to replicate the downline structure and achieve rank. What it requires is that you and the 3 people that you've enrolled have a spend of 100 points a month and a total volume between the 4 of you of 600 a month, and that will qualify you for a US $50 payment. If each of those 3 people then replicate that same model with 3 people, the bonus is $250 US, and if each of those 9 replicate it with 3 people, the bonus is $1,500. It's quite a challenging one to reach. It's something that as your team reaches a greater level of maturity, probably well into your tenure as a business builder, it's achievable. I think early on, the $50 and potentially the $250 one is something you can aim for, but it requires everyone locking in a commitment for $100, and it's not readily achieved. The last 2, the uni level commission is one based on enrollees' spend calculated by their depth in the hierarchy, or think of it as a family tree. So there's two diagrams there. On the right-hand side is a little snippet of a doTERRA hierarchy, and each of those little people represents a customer or a wellness advocate that has been placed by myself in the family. So if you think of it as a family tree, you see a great-grandparent at the top in the yellow, and then 1, 2, 3 levels. So bear that in mind. The commission you are paid at the uni level, which is a monthly payment, your team who are on level 1, you receive a 2% commission on their spend, right up to 7% commission for people who are at level 7. So this is something that the larger your team gets, the more this contributes to your monthly income check. But it doesn't contribute much at the start, because as you can see, in your initial levels, 1, 2, or 3 levels deep, you're only getting 2, 3, and 5%. That goes to, I guess, how strategically you place people, and that's a whole different webinar, I guess. But that's the uni level. The empowerment or leadership bonus, once you hit the rank of silver, you get monthly shares in the company's global profit. So it increases with the size of your team and the rank, and it's another payment to, I guess once you get to silver, you earn 1 share. You get to the next level, you earn more shares, and you also get bonus shares for the number of personally enrolled people that have hit a certain rank as well. So I think what to understand about all of those 5 different levels wrapped up is that the commission structure supports building depth. So you get a higher percentage of commission the deeper you build, and in other multi-level marketing businesses, usually the higher up people are placed, the greater the percentage. So what this actively does, it fosters support of your teams by placing enrollees downwards, not across. So when you do that, you enable other people in your team to see the earning capacity of the business, and that encourages them to become more active sharers or builders. So the commission structure really does support growth. So my success is dependent on other people's success, but I want to support them, because if they're successful, then it filters back up to me, just as Rebecca outlined with the Fast Start payment. So one thing that's really interesting to note for all of your team tonight is that only 15% of the people who joined doTERRA are considering it to make money. So the majority of people, 85%, just want to be a customer and get high quality oils. So it puts you in a different, what should I say, a smaller group of people who have a focus on the business. When I joined, I could take or leave the oils. I didn't really understand them well enough. They didn't jump out at me as a product that I would naturally use. I haven't used them before, and I'm more interested and turned on by the numbers of a business, and that's how I make my decisions. So I look at, rather than going on emotion, I make my decisions based on evidence and based on numbers, and so that's what I've looked at. Here you can see the number of people, the percentage of leaders who hit each different rank, and the earning capacity that they have. So 10% of people are earning over $200,000. Then there's 5% who earn a pretty reasonable amount at 115, and then 85% are in that gold, silver bracket, which is still, nothing to sneeze at. I'd like to talk now a little bit about why I got into the business and what really appealed to me. And this is my initial impression, as well as what I've learned over the 4 months I've been involved with doTERRA. So the opportunity presented itself as a really low cost, low risk entry into business. I didn't need to mortgage the house to get into this. I could spend a couple of $100 a month. If it all went pear-shaped, if my motivation ran out, I would have lost a few hours that I'd committed. There's no great risk here. There's a low cost, and you don't get that in any other business that I can really think of. Much like a franchise, I suppose, it comes with a blueprint for success. So if you follow the pathway, the well-worn path, you will be successful in doTERRA. It's been replicated over and over, thousands and thousands and thousands of times around the world. So if you follow that blueprint, you will be successful. The interesting thing to note is doTERRA as a company offers support processes for how to be successful. And many of the high-ranking doTERRA leaders have also developed, I guess, supplementary incomes by creating their own business support models and reference material and courses and coaching. So there is no shortage of support out there for how to do well in doTERRA. Much of it may be quite prescriptive, but it may fit with the way you want to operate. Also, what I've found is that the leaders are really accessible, and much of that is to do with how your success reflects and makes them successful. But also there's a connection. I'll go a little bit cosmic here. There's very much a like-minded community of the people who are involved with doTERRA that I haven't experienced in my corporate career. So that's something that really resonates with me. But the accessibility of leaders is something you wouldn't, not many people would have access to the CEO of General Electric, for example, but you can get access with some presidential diamonds fairly easily online, or if you pick up the phone. What's important for me is that the product is a quality one. So you're not trying to sell a lemon here. You have got quality products, as I've already touched on. And for me, doTERRA is a very socially conscious company. They do work in third world countries. They give back to the community. There's a feel-good factor there for me. As I've also already touched on, the health and wellness industry is one that is growing, not just in a sense of the global spend, but in people's interest and people's movement away from chemical-based products and toxicity in the household. So there's a real groundswell of people showing an interest in what may previously have been thought of as alternative. The interesting thing that sits alongside that is that doTERRA can be done in an online capacity. It's something that you can market and brand and sell online, so your reach is not limited by your location. You can get out there and be successful in this business, whether you're in a metropolitan area, whether you're in a country town, depending on how you want to use the power of the internet. What I also noticed about doTERRA and what I've discovered as well is that there are really tangible rewards that are available very, very quickly. And the more effort you put in, the greater the rewards. So in my job and in my normal 9-to-5 that I've been doing for over 20 years, I've only got a certain number of hours in the day that I can work, and I'm trading those hours for dollars. And I can work longer hours and I can work harder, but there's not that exponential earning capacity. I've got to go and retrain, or I've got to make sure that I'm right up to speed and on top of my game in my profession if I want to continue to grow my income. This is a business where you can grow from rank to rank and increase your income relatively quickly in comparison to a normal 9-to-5 role. What I did like about doTERRA was, because I am working, that I wanted an opportunity where I could progressively commit more time as it was required. So I don't have to give up my job. I can do this in the weekends. I can do this in the evenings. I can fit it in when I do have the time, and as more time is required, I can progressively commit to more. I can, like I just said, I don't need to give up my job. that wouldn't go down too well at home, but I can do both at the same time up to a point where I might want to reduce my 9-to-5 job as I transition and do more with doTERRA. I've seen many people do that in the business, and that excites me because I'm not severing one for the other. I'm transitioning, and that gives me a level of comfort. What I like about doTERRA is that there's the opportunity to integrate doTERRA into so many existing businesses as supplementary income. So that the opportunities are only as limited as your imagination, as how you can fit these oils and these products into anything in the health or well-being space, in food, in retail spaces, in the whole yoga, Pilates, massage kind of area. The opportunity is huge to leverage either as product placement or to actively integrate the oils into products or services that are already being offered. There's also something that really resonates with me, having family members who work in retail, is that you can realize the lifetime value of a customer without them having to return either to a bricks and mortar store or without you having to knock on their door every month and sell them some more product. So once someone registers, starts purchasing product, you'll realize their lifetime value, whether you see them again in your life or not. And that's a pretty powerful income earner when you think about how many people you may touch over the course of 1 year or 2 years and enroll into the business, and their lifetime value. You might, spend 1 month engaging with them, having them worked up, and for the rest of their life, whatever they spend in doTERRA, you'll be benefiting from. I've touched on the fit with many different industries and positionings. For me, the big opportunity with doTERRA was I saw it as an enabler to create financial freedom, that would allow me freedom to spend my time how I chose to spend it, mostly with my family, which enabled me to choose who I worked with, and the freedom was a big element I saw that doTERRA could offer me. So how much time does it take? How much time does it take to get serious in this business? So this is me. My team size is approximately 180. That's 100 wellness advocates and 80 retail customers. That distinction's probably not too relevant. 180 people, not all of whom I need to engage with, because some people just want to buy stuff. But there are other people who realize there is a business opportunity, other people who require an education in the oils. And so my time is spent following up with prospects and customers and enrollees and understanding their journey and what they need. My role is very much about being of service to them and understanding how I can support them. And that's not always a direct translation into an income for me. A lot of conversations are slow burns. Some of them peter out and die a natural death. But you just don't know when the next person is going to come along that's going to be a superstar. So because they're all in your team, my approach is to foster those relationships, encourage people along. And so that's where I spend my time. I spend a lot of time sharing product information, which is fantastic for me because I get an education as well. And like I've said, I'm not an expert in the essential oil space. It's still not where I need it to be. It's an ongoing thing day to day. I do spend a lot of time answering business questions. How does the doTERRA model work? What sort of income can I expect? What sort of time do I need to commit to? How should I be following up with people? How do I hold an event? How do I close a sale? These are the things that I'm having conversations with people every day on. The thing that really rings my bell is, and what I'm good at is empowering people and coaching those who want to be sharers and builders. And mostly those people want to know that there's someone on the end of the phone who will listen to the struggles that they are having, that will provide them with some support and with some ideas, and someone who's been there and done that as well. And so what they can do is they get strength from knowing they're not alone, I guess. And so I spend lots of my time on the phone talking to people about some of the roadblocks and obstacles they're facing. And of course, I've got to identify my next lead. So it's about me understanding where my next group of prospects or customers might be coming from and being active to try and engage more people. So it's all about growth. Up to now, I've probably got no change out of 10 hours a week, I would say. And that's maybe a couple of hours a night, a few more on the weekend. And that's got me up to the rank of silver in about 4 months' time. So as my team grows, 180 now, as it grows, there are more and more people to talk to. And there's a transition when I have to identify builders and leaders and support them as they start taking responsibility to support the people who they have enrolled beneath them. So this business might appear to be about oils, but in my mind and my investment, it's in relationships and it's in people. So this is the time to hit rank that doTERRA estimates, and these are just sort of 3 snapshots. If you want to earn extra spending money, the rank of Premier, where you earn $600 or so a month, would take you about 6 months if you spent 3 to 5 hours a week. If you wanted to supplement your income to the rank of gold, and that's something as a business builder I would expect to be a minimum expectation of people, where you earn up to $5,000 a month, could take you 1 to 2 years at 10 to 15 hours a week. And those who are ambitious, the holy grail, I suppose, is replace and multiply your income, retire from your 9 to 5 job. The rank of diamond may enable you to do that with an income of $17,000 a month. Could take you 1 to 3 years at a commitment of 15 to 30 hours a week. Now, I guess my comment on that is they would be average timeframes and potentially based on the doTERRA approach of having of sharing in a fairly in a domestic kind of environment. I think if you ramped it up and looked at the ability to move through these ranks more quickly by doing things online or taking advantage of an existing network, those timeframes could be cut quite considerably. However, the investment of time is still going to be significant. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme. It's like any business that you start. Most startups, the majority of them fail, and the ones that don't require a hard slog for 10 years to get anything approaching some of these higher or upper ranks in doTERRA and what they can provide. So I think if you think it's an easy way to earn quick bucks, it certainly is not that. You will be challenged. You'll be put outside your comfort zone. There'll be lots of learning. There'll be lots of growth. There'll be the typical roller coaster of business day to day, and it is around people and relationships. If that's not your thing, doTERRA may not well be for you. How to pull that all together. My last slide or so is about the collaboration that I belong to. So I've spoken about the hierarchy in the business, and you don't get a choice. Usually you sign up and you're placed under someone who has existed before you. And if you're lucky enough to have a really active leader, they will support you, and they should do that because that'll benefit them. But there are different teams that exist in doTERRA, and if you're fortunate enough to sign up with Rebecca and myself, you'll belong to Aura Leaders, which is the team created by Rebecca, and I want to talk a little bit about that because I think we are special. We are a little bit different to a lot of the other teams that I see out there that have an online presence in doTERRA. So we very much are ordinary people doing extraordinary things. And I would say that none of us come with a superb body level marketing background. We have what do we have? We have empowerment coaches. We have aromatherapists. We have people who are stay-at-home mums. We have people who are happy to share parties in their house. We have people like me who have absolutely no idea about essential oils, who have just come along because it looked exciting and the numbers looked very, very interesting. We are a true collaboration. We share resources, we share learnings, we get together and we talk. And when I say we communicate regularly, like weekly, and we're talking to people across the world. So they're the team that I think, Rebecca, jump in if I got this wrong. Hey, Kirby.
Hi, Craig. Sorry I'm late. I was on a phone call with Asti.
No dramas. We are genuinely worldwide. So we have North America, we have Europe, we have the UK, we have Australia, New Zealand, not yet Asia, but watch out, Asia, we're coming for you. We are genuinely a worldwide team, and what we have is some business discipline and structure and processes that help take care of the fundamentals that really can gobble up your time when you first come into the business. So that's things like how to track the volume of where your team's at, or how to track when you need to call someone, the things you should be doing in your first week or your second week or your third week if you're building, how often you should contact people. All of these business processes that can be templated and can be shared and can be built once and replicated across the wider team to save us having to reinvent the wheel. That's what we do at Aura Leaders. Most significantly though, the doTERRA way is the parties. Being Hayley Hobson and she advocates, the stay-at-home mum, making the list of 100 people that you know and working your way through your friends and family and having those conversations in a really natural, organic way, but still using the network that you have. Now, not everyone's comfortable doing that. And what I absolutely love about Aura Leaders is that our motto is do doTERRA your way. So I will never hold a party, I don't think, not in the foreseeable future, because that's not something I'm comfortable doing. And so we're not going to ask you to do something that you aren't comfortable doing. My zone of genius might be supporting people to realize their potential. So that's where I'm comfortable working. That's where I'm going to be the most effective. That's where I'm going to be the happiest. And that's where I'm going to keep turning up. So that's what we advocate in Aura Leaders. Do doTERRA your way, and we will support you whatever way that may be. We do have a very growing online presence, which is really important in today's age. So we can leverage from that presence in a branding and social media capacity, which extends our reach far greater than what we could do in any other way. Yeah. Again, Aura Leaders is focused on relationships and people. Yes, it's about essential oils, but it's about the strength of our relationships and the people that we are working with. So that's it. That's the webinar. I was going to offer you an incentive to, if you would incentive to enroll. So if you do that by Sunday night, which is the 27th of August, you will receive free an A to Z of Essential Oils ebook, which you may have already got, a one-on-one coaching call to get started. And it won't be a one-on-one coaching call. It'll probably be multiple, because one call just won't be enough time to get through all the things that you'll want to know and the questions you'll want to ask. And a 15 ml bottle of frankincense, which is the king of oils, retail value of about $115 to depending on where you're from. One of the great multi-purpose oils, one of the top sellers, one of my favorites, and a big 15 ml bottle. So do that by Sunday night, and that's all yours. Thank you very much for watching. I'd like to open it up for any questions that any of our attendees may well have.